We are,
Okay, the meeting of the May 19th, 2026 Irrigation Committee is called to order. We have a roll call. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Am I missing the part? At 2:00.
5/19.
Pardon me?
Can you say the date too?
I did,
Oh, you did, I'm sorry.
May 19th.
All this.
2:06. Okay. Call to order. Roll call.
Member Lowry,
Here.
Member Wright. Here. Member McKay,
Here.
Board Liaison Seaman,
Here.
and Board Liaison Fisher.
Here.
Okay, stand for the pledge of allegiance. Oh, we have one more, let's do them now.
Member Anusko,
Here.
We'll take the whole area.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I assume everybody has read over the agenda. Is there any additions, subtractions? We can do that now, right? If there's any additions to the agenda, or is it already been published and we can't do anything?
you can't do addition.
Okay. All right, any corrections to the agenda? Then do I have a motion to accept it?
Yeah, I move that we accept the agenda.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, opposed? Carries.
So can I just add, if you want to add something to the agenda, we could talk about at the end and we can add it for the next agenda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to verify.
Yeah. Typically said that's the 72-hour rule.
Right,
If it's a special meeting, that's the 24-hour rule.
okay,
The way the rule works is we can add things to it. So say you have an item and you want to change it or add something to the item, then you can add it within the 24 hours or even up to the meeting. But you can't change the agenda. That's what's locked in stone is the agenda part.
okay, what are the rules around the irrigation committee comments and reports? Can we bring up anything?
Yep.
Anything?
I mean, generally.
Okay.
And within reason.
Yeah.
You can't be berating and like I guess you actually probably could berate people, so you can have at it.
I think you.
Thanks for the suggestion.
You can-
Well,
it's
President
with-
Saunders called me President McKay at the last board
Yeah,
meeting,
yeah.
so.
I guess it would be within free speech rules, so as long as you're not like yelling fire in a crowded church or a crowded room,
No,
then
I'm
you're
just
probably
concerned
good to
with
go.
Brown, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna open up the public comments section. The public comments are to be only on items that are not covered on today's agenda. You must raise your hand, wait to be recognized, speak from the podium and state your name. And I will call upon you, so. And then there's a 3-minute time limit and or 15 minutes in total. Not quite sure how that works.
So if there's more than, say, 5 people who want to make a comment, then it reduces your time for 3 minutes down to say 2.5 minutes. Typically, it's 15 minutes and you divide by how many people want to make comment.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound good. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna open up the public comments. I'm gonna recognize Ron Cron. Yes, please.
My name is Ronald Cron. I'm here on behalf of my wife Trina Cron and my mother-in-law. I was hoping it didn't have to come to this. 9 months ago, I posed a few questions at a meeting at the Garden Valley Fire Station. And our property, I think, it's been on the irrigation water the longest. I've called multiple times last week. I was given a promise.
I did.
I'm gonna finish.
No, you're playing.
I was given a promise, to help try and find a solution to my situation, right? There's no follow-up, no phone call, no visit. It's been 9 months, and the reason I stated what I stated at that meeting was because I didn't want things to come to this. I knew what was going to come. And our situation's a little bit different. Our situation, we share a box. We have a new neighbor. The neighbor doesn't necessarily understand, you know, this is how we interact with each other. This box is on his property. I don't have permission to go up there. I was told we were gonna find a solution to this problem, and I'm really disappointed. I feel like the irrigation customers don't matter. I do a lot of volunteer work up here for old folks. I do a lot of work for people that have irrigation water, and they're all starting to feel the same way. And I'm the type of person, I come from a time and place when I tell somebody I'm gonna do something, I do it. In my professional career, I've had to deal with individuals who didn't follow through with things at Boeing and at GE, and things didn't end well for them and their career. I'm relentless, and I'm really upset about this situation, about the absolute lack of communication, the absolute lack of effort. And, you know, this lady's been paying here for years and years and years on this account, and I'm the gentleman that does the work. I keep the place up, and I also have to hear the comments and deal with everything at home, and I'm just trying to keep our place safe and keep it nice. And without this water running smoothly and without people working together, I'm in for another rough summer. And I want to know, when I walk out this door, am I gonna have to hire a lawyer? I've got one lined up. Am I gonna have to sue Good Pud and the neighbor? Or are we gonna figure something out? And is it not gonna be smoke blowing up my rear end? Cause I don't, at this point in time, I don't have any respect for you.
I understand.
You made a promise,
I
you
did.
didn't keep it.
If I can address you, and I won't take any of your time away. Are you around on Thursday morning?
Friday morning.
I can't do Friday morning.
So like I got customers and I show up and I do what I say I'm gonna do.
Adam, then.
Can you explain exactly what your situation is?
Okay, so it's a shared box, right? We're at the end of the line. On the line. The previous neighbor, we never had an issue because we worked together. He sold the property. And a young man moved in from the city. You know, he works from home. He's not an outdoor type person. He doesn't really understand it. So our water, it comes from the last box on Slagger Mine into the top of his property. From his property, it's piped down across his property to us. Right? Well, if that box isn't maintained, we have a problem. I installed $1,000 filtration system. I had to take the reducer valve and move it from his side of the fence to the other side of my filter, because it does me no good to have that reducer valve on the wrong side of the filter. It's doing this is a lot of work, right? To keep your property up with this water. There's things that happen. It's called irritation season, not irrigation season, right? But it's been unbearable. And the reason I'm so upset is because I asked for help to find a solution to this problem 8 months ago, 9 months ago.
So it kills your water flow? Is that what it's doing?
I did not have water until last night. And it's still, the pressure's not that great. And I know it's gonna be a battle all summer, and I know there's gotta be a simple solution to this problem.
Is this an all piped portion or is it over the
I'm-
edge?
I'm not sure.
Well, no, the ditch stops at Slagger, it goes under the road into a box, then it feeds Rod's place and it feeds
So
down
it's
to the
piped
box.
from
on-
that,
Yeah,
sounds like it's piped from that
You want
junker.
Friday?
And that box is the box you're talking about is on your new neighbor's property.
yeah,
Isn't there any kind of easement? Because
not that I'm aware of,
There
but
is-
this.
There is an easement that the GPUD has right to go into there. Because that's our ditches. That's what GPUD's supposed to be doing. I was there when, that agreement was made at our water, forum that we had at the,
at Garden Valley. So I would say that we will get this taken care of. It will be on the next meeting, and I'm directing the GM to put this item on the next meeting so that we have an update for you.
Appreciate it.
8 o'clock in the morning on Friday.
Great.
Can you, I don't want you to say your address or anything, but can you just write it down right here?
Yeah.
too? I don't want you to put it on the record because everybody
Right.
else to know.
I
Me and
appreciate you
Adam.
guys hearing what I have to
I
say.
apologize. It is totally my fault and I will take the blame for it. I did promise you and I lost your information, which is totally my fault.
And this is not a discussion item for the irrigation committee, so that's where you can stop at the discussion at this point. This
Okay.
is the GM's job right now.
Thank you.
And I got stuff done though.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Any other public, comments online? I see no hands. Okay, I'm gonna close public comments. Moving on to the minutes from our last meeting on April 21st. Are there any corrections, comments, changes to those minutes?
Uh,
Go ahead.
I actually have one question here. So, was your transcript posted online at some point? Should I have looked this morning, although the power was out? Cause when I looked online, when I printed out the agenda, a couple of days ago, what was it, Friday or something, I didn't see the transcript there.
They're both there.
It's online
It's
somewhere,
online.
so it
It's
would have been
attached.
posted on Friday.
Correct.
Okay, I guess it wasn't on the email or something, I don't know.
I'm looking at the agenda and when I click on view item, it pops up.
Oh, okay,
So it's there.
yeah, okay, so it's my. Okay,
No, I had a problem too. So
Yeah,
it's kind of buried.
yeah, that's, cause, yeah, it would have been nice if I could have read it ahead of time, but, you know. We're good, so I'll look again, and maybe I just didn't see it, so.
I didn't until I did, right?
You didn't know today. Okay.
No, until I did. I didn't see it until I did,
Yeah,
you know,
oh, okay.
yeah, then it was there.
Okay,
Okay. Do we have, approval of the minutes? Motion to approve,
Motion to approve.
second? Moved in second, vote, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None, we move on, thank you. Number 6, item number 6, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong commission. Item number 5, the water resource update. Memo manager, Madam Operations Manager, please.
Yeah, there's not much of an update right now, and I think the only update would be Stumpy still spilling. We have a large spike going into irrigation even right now, so it's not much is not. A lot has not changed. I think that what we did see towards the end of the season was we saw some snowpack, but the snowpack was gone by the time, season did start. Everybody this morning.
Okay. Any discussion? Any questions? Let's move on to item number 6, discussing the fire mapping system referred to in the 2025 irrigation service customer survey. This is only an update. Is that general manager or?
I'll just turn it over to member Nesco.
Yeah, I didn't get the count of how many they inspected, but Richie did go out to a number of customers already.
Oh, okay.
When that email came out, he got a lot of phone calls.
Oh, good.
So,
Very good. Okay. Sounds like that's about all we can talk about right now.
there was enough that he was complaining, so.
Pardon me?
There was enough calls he was complaining. So.
I did ask him if he wanted me to put his information out there, so he agreed and so that's.
Okay, well, let's move on to item number 7, the cost analysis of the Cherry Acres upgrades. Pipeline upgrades for board review, and at our last meeting, we did unanimously vote to put together a cost analysis for the board to consider and to review and make a decision. So this is just an update to us.
Yeah, so we did, we actually took the recommendation of the committee and posed it towards the board as one of the potential options for utilization for any funds that developed from the water transfer. We have a preliminary estimate of about $500,000. That we're trying to dial in something that's a little bit.
I thought the last I heard it was 300,000.
I think mainly the environmental side was estimated that the high side would be environmental would be that.
Okay.
But yeah, for the whole project.
But now it's 500.
Well, the environmental can swing, right? We don't exactly know, kind of depending when you get into the project, what kind of studies will be needed.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, you're totally fine. So we actually presented to the board that it'd be $500,000. Now, we're working with our engineer on what are other solutions to this problem, how we can do this cheaper. $500,000 is a lot to pose. That's more than the entire raw water budget for the year. And not saying that that's not doable, but it's definitely a sizable project to do. So we are trying to come up with other cost-effective options. We have in the past talked about doing a tank in the area, so we're gonna see if that's still a viable option. We are going to bring them in and let them look at it. So we're asking, our operations manager will be on vacation for a little while, so we're asking that we can bring this back in August for a follow-up on what we've decided and what the best kind of options are that we can go forward with.
Okay. Anybody have a comment? Any of our board members, either of our board members have a comment to add?
Yeah, I think it's an important project to serve that constituency as well as we can, because there is that kind of broken continuity going on. It seems to be a constant problem. There's also the dynamic, it seems to take a kind of a disproportional amount of staff time looking after it. So definitely some benefits on the project, but like Nick says, $500,000, kind of picture myself up in front of, a representative sample of everybody in our district and everybody's interest in a geographical distribution, and say, we're going to put this much money, into one place. How, it's a lot, that's a lot of money. So I am really eager to hear of some other more cost-effective solutions that can solve the problem.
Yes, member, right.
And I just kind of want to respond a little bit. Yeah, I do see that this is it's going to be an expensive thing to fix. However, we've got Cherry Acres. We have this gentleman that was just speaking about a problem on Sligo Mine area, that when we have these kinds of situations, it reflects badly on the irrigation system, on the district. We're not serving our public the way that we need to. So like sometimes the cost of a project for that individual project may seem a lot. But when you're talking about providing services across the board, if we're getting people that say, oh, well, the heck with it, they don't follow things through, we keep losing customers that way. So I think that's it's not just a matter of how much money is involved, but I do agree with you that we should try and do it as cost effectively as possible. But
yeah, right. Virtually every project you do is going to disproportionately benefit somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But $500,000, when you're talking about that distributed amongst 3,000 ratepayers, they're very conscious. And so I think you really do have to do due diligence and say, maybe we don't get a Cadillac. Is there a Toyota solution to this that would solve the problem, or at least make the problem considerably better?
Yes.
Question, wouldn't a pond be less expensive than a tank, or is it opposite?
The pond would require,
No, you're fine. Yeah.
The pond would require a bit of excavation.
Right.
There's a lot of bedrock in the area that would be really difficult to get through. and then shoring up, you'd almost have to build like a dam to make a pond, so it would be a considerable undertaking. Whereas if we took in some of the like larger plastic tanks, we can get those in there and we can hook in the plastic tanks and or there's an option for a bolt up tank where you can buy the panels and you can make a tank kind of on site.
Would the tank approach be less of environmental reviews then also?
In my opinion, it would be because we would be replacing the thing that's already there, so you're looking at
Right.
probably a neg deck.
Oh, cool. That's,
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm just curious, what is the maintenance cost on a pond? How often do you dredge them back out again?
It really depends on where they're at, and, you know, what kind of, like, so like if you have a irrigation seasonal pond, you're not gonna dredge that as much, like Walton Lake does, you know, a lot for treatment. But and the size obviously too. So like Walton Lake has gone 16 more than that. Probably 18 years without, you know, being dredged. It needs to be dredged now. We're working on a FEMA project for that. We did clean out Irish a couple of years ago, and that had gone for probably 25 years. That's similar to in size. It's probably double like the size in the Taylor Mine located near you.
Okay.
So that depends, you know. But some take more sediment than others. You know, there's have larger canal feet, and so it's kind of there's a lot of variables go into, you know, when that would need to be done.
Right, I was just thinking the one by us is, I don't know, it's been maybe 5 years or more since it was cleaned out.
Yeah.
Director Seaman?
Oh, thank you. Well, there's a couple things. One, you know, if we're selling all this raw water, that's predominantly our irrigation water funding money to the tune of over $1 million. So I think proportionally having it go back to irrigation is of value to correct multiple problems that have been coming up for more years than I've been on deck here. So I think, you know, this has been kicked down the road quite a ways and ignored. And we've lost lots of customers because of poor support to the irrigation system. And, you know, I don't know what it's going to take to get that to happen. But clearly this is an ongoing problem, not just Cherry Acres. Cherry Acres is only because almost every general manager we've had have had a constituency of Cherry Acres founders that have gone there to talk about the problems and try to get it fixed, and it's been ignored every time. So, you know, I think having it come back, I'm assuming it's coming back to irrigation in August, where it should be coming back to irrigation in July and go to the board in August. Because no matter what decision ever gets made, you know, it's not going to have any benefit for this irrigation season, which the members of the Cherry Acres irrigation, you know, that are taking irrigation water don't ever get their full allotment of water. So, you know, the district has been making money off of us for years. I'm done.
Thank you very much. Okay. Anything else on this topic? Thank you. Now, item number 8, the status of the LAFCO Georgetown Divide parcel negotiations. Again, General Manager, please.
Yes, so we are reviewing the maps that came in from the surveyor. We are ensuring that they're adequate and going to be what the county, what LAFCO is looking for. We are reviewing that with the LAFCO representatives at this time, and so my update is that things are looking much better than they were when we did not make the deadline in April, and we will definitely be on track for the July meeting.
Okay. Did you have anything? Thank you.
Yeah, I do, yes, I do have concerns about this. I also contacted LAFCO. I am rather frustrated about how this project is proceeding. The this was approved by the Board of Supervisors on February 10th. On March 2nd, there was a board meeting at which LAFCO had a representative, and she discussed what the process was. And she did say in that meeting that there were certified maps that that GPUD needed to submit. And they needed to be submitted by April 29th. In the meeting, the water board meeting last week, Mr. Snyder indicated that the contract for the mapping was not signed until April 8th. So that only left the person, whoever he contacted with, basically 20 days to put the maps together. So like there was a month that was wasted in there. When the maps were submitted, they weren't adequate. This resulted in that we're not having a timely hearing at the end of May. It's now going to be in July, and that's assuming that the maps are actually submitted this time. We have lost two of our irrigation customers that were part of this annexation, are not getting water this year. They've dropped out, and that was a question I've asked repeatedly. Are we losing customers over this? Well, the answer is yes. I understand there's like up to 20 something at this point. Originally there were 10, and of the original 10, we've lost two. So that's basically 20% that we've lost. I'm really disappointed that things get pushed off, that things don't get done. As Director Seaman said, as the people that were here, it's like these issues come up and things don't get done. And at the same time, we look at Mr. Snyder's at the board, he presents all these meetings that he goes to. He's going to Aqua, he's going to this, that, and the other thing. But the management of the district depends on having customers that actually get customer service. And it just doesn't seem like that's happening. I am hopeful that this will get done. We do have time limits. There are legal time limits in which these maps need to be submitted in order for LAFCO to be able to process this and get it done. This has been a year since this process started. At the time, LAFCO had, in their paperwork, they had indicated it would take about 6 months, maybe 9 months. It's been a year and we're still not there. At the regular board meeting, Mr. Snyder indicated that he was unclear about the submission of the maps. I went back and looked at the presentation that Michael Saunders and LAFCO presented over a year ago when they went through the different steps, and it absolutely says in there about the maps. And, it also impacts an issue that I'm assuming Director Seaman is going to get into, that the surveys are costing more money. And that wasn't disclosed in the original agreement, that the original motion or board action to approve this annexation. Cost-wise, or income-wise, it works out because the GPUD is going to end up with $63,000 a year more than they would have gotten from charging the excessive rates to the people who are out of district. We're still going to end up with more money, and we're going to end up with that money whether we have irrigation customers or not. But to me, there's just a pattern of customers being neglected, and that needs to be something that needs to be fixed. Like I said, I'm hopeful we can get this annexation put in, because we're talking about 20, we still have about 20 customers that, I guess 8 that are currently in the district and another 10 or so that would like to get, that there's potential. So we still have some customers out there and, I do want to see that happen. Um, that's as much as I have to say at this point.
Thank you. Any other, Director Seaman? Maybe hear from you.
Okay, so at the last meeting, at the last board meeting, this was discussed. I don't know if Ann heard what we were told, that LAFCO had not reached out to GDPUD in almost a year, because this started May 5th of 2025. And that the board has not approved the $16,000 amount, because we never received or heard of this until recently, and there has not been a contract come through in the board's packet. And I know the reasoning was because of the spending limits of the GM. But in the last meeting, we also had a $8,500 contract that came through that we had to approve with, that was less than half of what this survey contract should have been. And maybe, who knows, if we could have caught any issues that were part of that contract, and maybe we could have helped kick this thing a little faster down the road. My understanding is we're not going to see this approval process for that 16,000 until July or August, which it should be happening sooner than that. And I'm sorry that President Saunders didn't put it down as an action item and just as an informational item, because that is not what I originally asked for. I asked for it to get expedited and put in so that we knew we were going to accept this contract, whatever in the heck it looks like, that already went through. But we were also going to, to try to keep this going. And kicking this down another month or so was not acceptable. But, all I could say is I'm still pushing. Thanks.
So hold on, in my defense, I'm happy to wait until the June meeting and we can do the contract, and I'll make sure the maps don't make it till the June meeting, because that's what's gonna happen if we don't pay this gentleman in time. So like, you think that you're expediting by bringing it to the board meeting, and unfortunately we're not. My decision was to go ahead and approve this contract based upon my spending authority. The $8,500 had nothing to do with my spending authority. You were all hiring a strategic plan advisor for the board, not something that I'm gonna pick. You decided to pick somebody, and when you pick somebody, you asked me specifically to bring it back to approve that contract at the board meeting. So that's an unfair comparison.
Well, if we get down to if you want to throw stones, one, we did not approve for anything over 15,000, and the 15,000 was only to include the fees for LAFCO and the potential fees of other agencies that we may have to do. Because I went back before the last board meeting to re-listen to that entire section, and that is exactly what it says. We only approved for fees. We did not approve for any surveying because we had no idea. A board did not have any idea that we had to have surveying done.
Thank you, Director Seaman. Go ahead, Director.
I just wanted to kind of back up, make sure back up in chronology, make sure I'm kind of clear on what's going on. So on or about April 9th, I guess, we found out that there was a misunderstanding. We thought LAFCO was going to produce maps and LAFCO did not. And so finding that out, Nick, you hired a surveyor. Correct. With the idea that the maps needed to be in by the 29th. I mean, that was part of the scope, right? It was kind of understood going in. We need rush maps, right?
26. We
So
by the 26.
Okay. So you used your spending authority to try to make the deadline that everybody was shooting for. And the surveyor did not make the deadline anyway, right?
Correct.
So we also have a problem with our surveyor. We scoped a rush project. He didn't make the deadline. Has he now?
We're still reviewing. We're not gonna
But
pay
we
him
have-
until we have the maps.
We have maps in hand that are at least,
We're
close.
reviewing with LAFCO to make sure that everything is copacetic with
Okay.
what they want.
so we've issued, so in order to try to make a timeline, unfortunately, we didn't. Tried to make a timeline, issued a contract. What's coming back to the board is not the contract, it's ratification of your spending authority is what my understanding was, just so that we have the coverage of the board's authorization.
Transparency is the proper term.
Right, yeah.
But I mean,
So did I get the chronology right of what's happening here?
100%.
Okay,
I mean, I'm not trying to throw stones. I'm not trying to start an argument. But if this is the way we want to operate, then you might as well just take my spending authority away because that you want to see everything that we spend. It's all there. It's all in the financials. It's all in the documentation. But if you're going to approve every contract that we go through, then a board meeting is going to go from 6 hours to 20 hours. That doesn't seem like it's serving the interest of the district. But if you want that to be the way we operate moving forward, then by all means.
but I think if I could put words in Donna's mouth, I think what's unique about this one is that there was a discussion about what we thought was the budget of 15,000, and then we got some surprises, and so we're bringing it back just to say, okay, the board.
We were told at the
Was
meeting that
connected.
15,000 was an estimate, and there was could be additional fees beyond top of that.
Mhm.
We've only spent $5,000, and we've been told by LAFCO that the $15,000 from them will probably not materialize. They will probably not be billing us much more than $10,000. So there's an additional $5,000 that are in limbo somewhere. And I'm not saying, I'm not arguing, or I'm not saying that, that you shouldn't know what's happening. We came in and we told you, hey, we hired this surveyor. We told you how much the surveyor cost. It was 16,000 and some change. But we did. I just told you at the last board meeting.
You told us after the fact, yes, correct.
I told at the irrigation committee, because you asked for an update of the irrigation committee, so we told you what it would cost the irrigation committee at the end of March, or at the end of April, excuse me. We then told, I don't even know, sorry, my dates are all screwed up.
Anyway, the whole point is we're doing it to try to do backdating on an approval that we should have had done before. My other concern, and this is throwing a stone, is now we didn't have anything happen and no indication and no notification from LAFCO for a year. And I find that really hard to believe that if they have something in the works and process, they would have said, oh, by the way, you need to get this done, or, oh, by the way, maybe that's how they work. I don't know, but it concerns me that there was a whole year that transpired before all of a sudden we're in a crisis to get this surveying done, and then we miss the deadline besides. So I don't know who has or hasn't talked to LAFCO, but it seems like either LAFCO failed or some follow-up had not occurred properly.
I think that there was a misinterpretation that goes to everybody, to me, to our staff, and to what they were telling us. I have an email that says that it will have to be certified by the El Dorado County surveyor. So we have to have these maps. And what my thought is, okay, so the surveyor is making the maps, and he's going to certify these maps, and we're going to approve these maps. So that was my interpretation of what this email said. Going back to having phone conversations is when we realized that no, you have to supply the maps to the county surveyor to be approved. And so as soon as we found that out, we jumped on it. We found a surveyor, and it's an unfortunate thing. Yes, the surveyor did not have a lot of time. I'll give him that. And it doesn't. This is not going to be. This is going to sound really bad, but I don't want you to take it the wrong way. And I'm directing this at you, Ann. It's not going to change the way that this is going to work, because nothing would have become official before December, whether it's heard in May or it's heard in July. So it's all going to become official at the same period of time in the year for when this rolls into the next new year. And I know that that's not comforting. I'm not saying that to comfort you. I'm saying that strictly to say that because even though we missed the deadline, it doesn't change much on what would have happened on your end as well.
Okay, I wanna hear from Cherie, she's had her hand up.
Oh, Sheree's got her hand. Yeah,
Cherie
let Sheree
first.
say something.
Go ahead, Cherie.
Yes, I just want to make the point, which I did at the board meeting, that yes, he has the signing authority if it's in the budget. And the budget this year has 7,200 in it. I don't know where that figure came from because they did pay out 5,000 last budget. So he only had signing authority for 7,200, as far as I can tell. Thanks.
That's how that works.
Okay. One more comment on this, and then I would really like to close this out, because a lot of this is historic.
Yeah.
It's not part of our committee's purview.
Yeah, that's, my response to, I mean, just on the timing thing is that it took 6 months to even get the application in and the whole process. So the process didn't even get started until November. This was approved a year ago, May. And had the initial application been submitted within a month or two, after it was approved by the board, we might not have missed an entire irrigation system season. We could have gotten everything. It could potentially have been approved all in 2025. People this year would not be paying extra. We wouldn't be losing irrigation customers because it didn't go through. And as for LAFCO responding, every time I've contacted LAFCO, they've answered me within an hour.
Yeah.
And I have asked all along the way, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. I don't know about them reaching out to you, but you know, I've learned in my line of work in business that you just keep reaching out to people. You don't expect everybody to contact you. It's the dragging this out. And the December deadline is actually for when LAFCO has to have this information in order for it to be in 2027. So that's not our deadline, that's LAFCO's deadline in December.
It changes, it's how it changes when everything is approved in the mapping and when the maps will be approved. They would both be approved in December. If it was in May or in July, it would have both been finalized in December is what I was trying to say.
And that may be, but I'm the type of person who doesn't wait until November 15th to submit something that's due December 1.
Trust me, I'm not that person either, but this is, I'm not, again, it's not trying to comfort anybody, but this isn't the only thing that I deal with on a daily basis here, and I understand that, sure. Could we have done this a little bit faster? Probably.
Yeah.
I'll say yes, probably. But there's other things that we do here as well that also have to have deadlines, and so there's multiple deadlines that we are all managing, and sometimes an email gets missed or moved, or you don't respond within a day or two, and I'll admit that sometimes that happens. So we will work on making that a better for all the customers here.
Okay, I'm going to close out the discussion on the backhoe. Moving on to item 9. The ways to increase the water sales. We have the revised postcard based on the comments that were received at the last meeting and in writing from Director Siemens. And then following that, it looks like there are magnets that have been devised by the depot staff to go over. So let's start with the draft number flyer, postcard, whatever. The address side wasn't really changed very much. We did include the miner's inch with equal to on that side, in addition to the advanced payment option. On the information side, it was noted that the irrigation water may have chemicals in it. I'm not sure what kinds, but we took out chemical-free aspect. Revised some of the considerations to indicate that irrigation water is purchased per season and that it flows continuously, which requires some sort of storage capability on the account holder's side. And that the GPUD is proposing a short-term, low-interest financing program, not that it has done anything beyond that. Any comments? Go.
So, about the, requirement to have an on-site pond or tank for storage, so I'm not sure that you necessarily have to have a pond or a storage tank. I don't know that that's in any of the ordinances.
You do not.
And, because you could potentially, as like on my particular property, it's set up where the water comes in and, it runs into a continuous flow, system that waters a certain set of our apple trees and plum trees and peaches.
But that's something you set up.
It was something that was set up, but that's like way ahead of of any storage tank.
Well, I think
So-
that the idea is that it's a continual flow.
It's a continual
It
flow,
has to go
so,
somewhere.
but but
Can you
you could
reword that?
be, it could be gravity flow. If you have the right kind of property, it could be gravity flow.
Mhm.
And you wouldn't necessarily need a storage tank. And what I thought you might want to clarify is that you could say, requiring an on-site pond or storage capacity to facilitate pressurized delivery. Because what you're not gonna get,
What pressurized?
pressurized delivery, because what you're not gonna get with a gravity flow system, you just have the gravity that pushes it down. So, for example, where we lived previously, we had spring water on our property. And it flowed into a series of ponds and such, but the water that came into our house was not pressurized by any tank or anything like that. It just came out of the ground and the springs were uphill and came down to our house. So we didn't have pressurized water in our house. We had gravity flow. And,
Okay, I'm not following.
This is gravity flow. Gravity flows from Stumpy, though. Where's
Yeah,
the
but you-
pressurized?
So
flow?
that's gravity, but you don't need to have a tank on your property to use gravity flow water. Gravity flow water, if, depending on what your property looks like, if your property has got enough of an elevation, if the water comes in at the top, it could just flow gravity into your garden, into your orchard.
Or if you're at the end of the line kind of thing where it doesn't come in as strong as other spots. I see what you're saying.
You'd have less
Yeah,
pressure.
okay.
But it's only the natural pressure. You don't absolutely have to have a tank in order to pressurize your water.
No, this
I
isn't-
think the tank
this
is
isn't
mainly
talking about-
that if that's too much water coming in.
It may be.
It has to go somewhere.
It-
It
yeah,
can't just
that's-
continuously flow
yeah,
across
yeah.
your yard.
That's, I guess what I was looking at that is that if you say they've got to have a tank or a pond, that they're gonna go, oh, dang. Oh, there's another however many $1,000s a tank costs. And, just,
The intent of that was the fact that it is continually flowing.
yes,
And
Yeah.
I do have gravity. Mine goes into a pond that has been there for a
Yeah.
long time.
yes,
And there's an overflow.
Yeah.
That goes into the property underneath the culvert,
Mhm.
underneath the street,
yeah,
onto the next property, and I consider that,
Yeah.
I'm adding to the ecology
yes.
of the area.
Oh,
That it-
absolutely, yeah,
But I mean, and sometimes it does spill
yeah,
during the season and,
Yeah.
and do that. Cause I'm not necessarily using all of it on my irrigation.
mhm,
So the point of it was that you have to be capable of handling that much water.
yeah,
I understand that, but that would require an inspection, also someone coming out and saying, well, what happens if it clogs? What kind of filtration do you have set up? Because if it's continually coming into that drip
Yeah.
line or whatever it is,
yeah,
whew, try watering your lawn, just your lawn, which I don't have, but
Yeah.
with ditch water,
Yeah.
so the filtration's,
yeah,
it's nothing like the box.
yeah, it does, yeah,
Director Seaman?
Okay, you guys are kind of confusing me because I'm assuming we're on this page. And
Right.
that one line that says irrigation water is purchased per season and flows continually requiring an on-site pond or tank or storage.
yeah,
That's a false statement because not
Okay.
everybody has to have that.
What's a better way to state it?
Yeah, that's a false statement because not everybody has to have a pond. It could just flow down, but you're supposed to be having your sprinkler heads going 24/7 to accommodate that gravity flow. You will not turn them off once that irrigation water starts. I have a luxury of pushing mine into a pond if I don't want it hitting my lawn or wherever. But not everybody has that. So that's one of the requirements that people tend to go brain dead on, is that when Adam cuts that water loose to us, it has to go somewhere, and you do not shut it off at any point in time until October 15th, when we shut the water off. So that's one, that statement's false. And two, that's the point we need to make, is that once the water is cut on, you do not turn it off. You do not have an option to turn it off. If it floods your property, you've got too much water coming in, you need to rethink what you're buying. Or you need to put in a tank, which won't accommodate that much water when it's being pushed at a 1 acre foot or not. Having a big pond, I push it into the pond and I can let everything go dry if I wanted to, just to have the water go to the pond. So that's my update.
Director Ann Fisher, did you have something?
Yeah, no, I appreciate what Donna and Ann are saying about in a perfect world with gravity, which I wish I had. But I don't, so if in my configuration, I've got a pump from the canal into a pond and then from a pond to everything else. And in that case, you can't draft right out of the canal, and you do have to have a holding tank just for enough buffer for that pump to function in. So I think maybe if you changed it to, depending on the configuration of your property, you may require pumps, storage, or other distribution infrastructure,
Yes,
something like that.
great, that was.
Thank you, I was looking for words.
Yeah,
Because we
And
did
some
submit
were-
originally the first card that said continual flow requires on-site pond or tank storage capability, and nobody said anything about it, so.
Yeah.
That was just trying to be clarified a little bit more, or not be so confusing, but I like did you write down what?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
yeah, so what you said.
My brain can only handle so much incoming.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
get it.
Yeah, yeah, that was.
Okay, Donna, you had your hand raised and then you put it down.
I'm being shy.
Okay, all right. So obviously that section needs to be reworded. I will get with Director Fisher and see if I can get more succinct.
I guess
Um,
the one thing that isn't in here is that whole thing we need to drill down, the 24/7 water. It has to be on 24/7. If you, and I've heard, the customer that says, oh, but it floods my property. Well, then you need to rethink getting irrigation or how you're using your irrigation, because you don't have an option to turn it off.
That was the intent of the statement. I apologize that it didn't state that clearly.
3 times a charm.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay, anything else on here that needs correction or clarification or?
Just what I commented on, just making the spaces shorter between the billing is in 3 installments on the Did You Know page.
Between what?
Billing is in 3 installments, just bring those spaces together closer. It's minor, and then the 19108 doesn't run into the side. Just my years of editing.
Okay. The box can also be expanded. One way or the other, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I suppose the next idea, we were talking about this. Because we're already into the current year, this would be something to go into the 2027 season. Advertising or whatever. Taylor and I, well, Taylor mostly, he did ask my input. I have a little bit to say. Did incorporate a lot of what we had mentioned on this postcard onto the website. It's not everything, but there's a lot more information about irrigation and service and costs and so on than there used to be.
Yeah, saw that. Looked good.
Okay, anything else on the card itself? I think we'll you know, this is an ongoing item on our agenda. So we will come back and revisit timing and such in subsequent meetings. Yes, Director Seaman, and then Sherry, you'll be next.
So the only problem with throwing out the gallons per minute, gallons per hour and all that is that the district kind of doesn't have anything in place. Like if I went and put a flow meter on my line, that would be something we're gonna have to look at, coming from the director end. Because, you know, realistically, I put the flow meter on and I see you're not pushing enough water to me. Does that mean I'm gonna get money back? So that's gonna send a whole world into a different world, you know, it's gonna confuse things here and I don't know how to fix that. But I just wanted to say, you know, if we don't get the water, does that mean we get a refund on the water? Because there's nothing in the ordinance currently that would accommodate this. All this says is they're pushing us one miner's inch and congratulations, you know, you would have to prove that I'm not giving you 1 miner's inch. Am I confusing you? Does that make sense?
Talking to me or somebody else?
Yeah.
I totally understand.
As far as the flow meter goes, a 5-gallon bucket, and you run the water into that, if you can, whatever, it's coming out of your pipe or whatever, and 26 seconds it takes to fill a 5-gallon bucket for 1 miner's inch. So that information could be put out there for those who don't want to have the added expense of a flow meter, that kind of thing. Half a 5-gallon bucket would be half a miner's inch in 26 seconds.
What's the purpose of having that? That's, I guess that's where I'm at.
To know whether you're
If
getting
you're
the
trying to
water
prove
or
that
getting too much.
you're getting the water or not getting the water, then you're gonna have to have better records than that to prove it. You know,
You can have someone come out and test it themselves from GPUD. GDPUD.
Is that a thing?
Yes,
Yeah, we
absolutely.
could.
Okay, yeah. All right,
I don't think we use that method, but we do test.
there is a method.
That is a method that is used continually.
Yeah.
and also you guys need to realize too, because some of you don't have the luxury of seeing when the district is flushing pipes or flushing systems to get this big slug of mud, and if you're not on it to open everything up and it goes through your sprinkler and plugs you, that's something that's just part of the system that you have to kind of live with. So, you know, some of that is that mud and flushing and everything that is part of irrigation because nothing is perfectly clean.
And that goes back to what I was saying on a previous meeting, I can't remember which one, what happened to the times when they would come out and flush before the water came on fully. But then it was explained to me that sometimes there's just no water in the ditch to flush beforehand to make sure you don't get those globs of mud. So sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But I think that would be an informational thing, definitely for irrigation customers to make sure that they have everything open on their property and that they're not running through their lines that need the heavy filtration initially, so that all of that sludge can be washed out.
Pretty sure we did that, and we have notifications that we send out for that.
Really?
I
It'd
could,
be nice if it was just on the website.
That was
like
one thing we had asked for, that if somebody's in the area doing a flush, they notify the customers. But then I think it was discussed that, I don't know if they couldn't do it that way or something, because like say in my neighborhood, if they're flushing the line, it would be nice to know the day of or a day ahead of time to flip everything around at my end and then go ahead and flush and let me know when you're done.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna recognize Cherie. She's had her hand up for a bit. Cherie, go ahead.
Yes, who is this postcard going out to? Is it all, I'm assuming the district knows every parcel that can access irrigation. Is that who it's going to go to? Whether or not they're customers or not?
We would send it out to customers, current and former customers. We would just send it out to addresses for former customers with a kind of a, if we didn't know their name, a caveat of, whoever owns the property.
Okay, because there is a map that states every parcel and you could calculate it out. I would think you would want to send it to other people that that can hook up. Like I'm in front of in Garden Valley. We used to have the irrigation. We gave it to the next door neighbor, and I would be a potential customer. How would I know about it?
So we don't send it out to potential customers because it's hard to pinpoint those, because I'll give Andy, I'm gonna throw Director Fisher under the bus. He's a potential customer, but it also costs him about a lot of extra money to operate his system. So we get a lot of calls from those people and oh, you can get this water and it's free. And then we have to tell them, well, you have to pump it here and you have to get it here. And then they start hearing all the costs and we get inundated with these calls of people who think that something is better than it is. So, we can absolutely advertise and we can absolutely have flyers, but I'd rather not blanket areas with like mailers.
Okay.
Thank you. Great.
Is it possible to have an option on your phone-in system for just an information line if you are considering irrigation water?
Who would it go to?
I mean, sending the mailers out,
Sure. No,
to a map.
I'm just
like
trying
Sharice.
to work it with.
But what I'm saying is to be prepared for that influx of phone calls or whatever, that you have, push number 7 if you're interested in irrigation water, and have it only an information line that covers, again, what's on here, but then maybe a little bit more specific. And then if you need more information, email at blah, 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 blah.
A pre-recorded message instead of going.
Thank you, pre-recorded. Yeah.
I mean, we could try it, but they're gonna get through to one of the front desk ladies or people, and they're gonna ask them the questions, and unfortunately, they're gonna do their best to answer, but they're not gonna know the technicalities of it. So then it's gonna get transferred to Adam, and Adam's gonna take these calls, and you're looking at hundreds of calls, hundreds, even if it's 100 calls a year, that's a lot of calls that he has to deal with to basically tell people like it's going to cost you this much. So that's my concern. And I understand what you're saying, but an informational, on the phone, it still goes somewhere. Somebody still has to respond to that. We can't just let them, go off into the waste bin and not get response.
In what other government entity does a phone get transferred to the operations manager when you have a simple question?
So I'm trying to explain this to you. If I'm a customer and I call in and I'm asking, when can I get service? And the lady goes, yeah, you could probably get service. Let me give you my operations manager, because he's going to be the one who actually determines whether or not you can connect to the system or not. So we're not like calling the city of Los Angeles where we have 1,000 employee layers to get to the higher end people. Our higher end people do real work here, and we don't have a lot of people who would understand this. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
All the more reason to protect and have an email. Please send your questions to this email.
Yeah, but
So you tell your employees, this is what you do when people call in, because they're simple questions, but they don't have the time to answer all of these questions. It's called delegation.
I'm gonna come right back to who is the ultimate person who has to answer all these emails? Me or Adam are the only two people who can answer these emails with enough technicality.
How many emails are you expecting? If you're gonna get 25% customers of 100 calls coming in, it seems to me that that's worth it.
If we got 25%, it would be worth it. Of the calls that we've gotten since I've been here, most of them go to, unfortunately, it's going to cost you this much money. We have people who call like 8 properties away from where the ditch is.
Mm.
I understand, I'm sounding very like. I'm not trying to sound dismissive. I just need you to understand where we come from on the customer service side of this. We don't want to give somebody bad customer service, but we also don't want to be inundated with calls of people who hope that they can get something. Because they can, and we have to tell them no. Because unfortunately, you tell somebody no, and it's going to cost you this much money. Well, why doesn't the district just pay for this? And then we have to go through. It's a each one of these calls is more than an hour of conversation. These aren't just like, please give us.
This is right there on the card. And they're calling because of this card.
I'm not sure that you understand what I'm saying when I talk about the costs. The cost to hook up to our system is not just the monthly cost that they pay for their water. So.
Oh, I see where you're coming from now. I'm talking about where it's available. I get the
Okay,
disconnect.
so again, I'm gonna throw Director Fisher under the bus. He lives directly next to the ditch. I'm talking like the ditch flows by his property.
Okay.
However, he lives at the top of a hill, so he has to put in infrastructure to pump that water up a hill and then get it to a spot and then let it flow into his property.
Right.
So we go out and we explain this to people and we say, well, you have to put the pump in and you have to do this infrastructure. We'll provide you the inlet in our system and you have to get the water from this inlet to where you want to use it. And then they say, well, how much is that going to cost?
What did you do on that situation initially when you found out? What was your reaction?
Well, I had irrigation water when I bought the property. And I wound up letting it go when life got complicated, and I'm looking for opportunity, for different ways of setting it up so that it's more efficient. So I knew going in, I didn't request, it was already there when I got it. The pump system was there, the pond was there. But it does, if I might, just sitting here throwing out since I'm under the bus, do I get a chance to talk?
Absolutely.
At least earn you a chance to talk.
Let me drive up. I was just driving back and forth 3 times.
So what if, just thinking here, do you think it'd be of any value to have a kind of are you interested in irrigation water, start here and direct them first to a web page with just a series of questions, how many.
We're working on this
is-
webpage, so
okay.
yes,
So yeah, just kind of, here are your ongoing costs. This is just a chart, but you also want to know about upfront costs. Is a ditch adjacent to or on your property? Yes or no? How many acres are you? Are you above or below a ditch? Or I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of it's going to be I don't know. But the bottom of that could be, if you don't know or you do know, and here's the answer, you could be into substantially thousands of dollars to get hooked up between the backflow preventer. Do you want to go any further? Well, here's a number. If you want to go any further, maybe that would kind of screen out. Oh, it's that much per year plus 5,000. Oh yeah, forget it.
Well, we're working on developing a
But that would
website,
be-
so we
that
can
would be
have
helpful.
those types of
So
things.
is there a deadline on that?
Screen people out.
Wait a minute. Can we go back to the beginning of how this really works? Somebody would call in and want to go, I wanted to get into irrigation. It gets funneled to an office at the end of the hall. That person then would send them a form letter. There was never a contact with a human being. They would send them this form letter saying, these are the costs for hookups. These are the costs for what it would, if there was previously some of the water on the property. And some of the information would be on there. They would not receive anybody coming out. They would not see a human being at all. And this is kind of how it had worked. Now, if there's improvement, that would be great. But to my best understanding, the person that was doing this information, that was an assist to Adam, was just sending out form letters. So if that is changed, then we need to do an improvement from that person doing it and the form letters to actually maybe one of the leads of irrigation that goes out and just does a cursory check and then gets back to Adam, or Adam already probably knows which properties can be hooked and which couldn't and what the issues are. But it was always a letter if someone made a call in and it never was a contact with a human being.
And that's what needs to change. That's one of the things that needs to change.
We need customer service when it comes to that, and that's what I've been whining about for
We can send a letter
quite a
whether
few
they work.
years.
People probably
Yeah.
agree.
agreed.
Verification service.
Yeah, but we don't send out letters if you're interested. We send out, when somebody
have.
calls in. That's before I even worked here.
No,
We did.
because my neighbor has already gotten it. Because was one of the things. They reached out because they knew I had irrigation. And they reached out to GPUD and they got a form letter saying, just laying out costs of what it would be to hook up if it was available right there.
Yes, verification of water service.
Yes, that was a form letter that went out.
Well,
Yes.
it's not necessarily it is a form letter in a sense, but there's still a lot of, I kind of came in the backside of this conversation, but there's still a lot of research is done, there's sites visits that's done if needed to know if they're where we would connect, if it's irrigation or distribution. And sometimes there is contact to the requester if it's needed, different questions or whatever, to follow up with them to see if to meet their
Okay, because multiple people in my neighborhood have asked and they just got a letter in response. And I know who sent the letter out because we drilled that down one day. So,
Yeah, sometimes we talk to them, sometimes we don't. It kind of depends, if we have enough information from them, we don't necessarily reach out to them, but we'll get it done and get them back out the letter, and then they have that information, then there's kind of the dialogue just really starts at that point.
yeah.
Just one final comment on coming from the marketing end of things. These are not customers who need drinking water. These are customers who need irrigation water, and they are highly needed by GDPUD, right? So there really probably needs to be a little bit better handling of these potential customers, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of positive. Yes, it may cost you this, but look how much you're going to save over here, kind of thing. If they're waddling back and forth, waffling, and just to come at it more positively, not that this is another burden or this is just your monotone or whatever. You need to come at this with, oh yeah, come on, let's get you some water.
You're hired.
I'm retired.
Well, I can assure you the people here are not monotone. They're very excited when they answer the phone because I listen to them all day long. Nobody here answers the phone and tries to treat anybody like that.
It's only in this room, I guess, then.
Okay.
All right.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
I'm thinking that from I'm hearing, listening to all of this, and there's a lot. I'm also thinking that perhaps this is not a one size fits all approach. That I think that we do need multiple cards or multiple whatevers. I'm thinking of, you're talking about you're developing a site. I don't know what it looks like, if it's in addition to what you've already done, or you're just going to expand what you've already done. But I'm kind of thinking of a graphic. You've got, graphics here that is a landscape, that here is your connection and this is what you have to do, and sort of flow you around to how you get connected on a visual basis, not a word basis. So people can see, oh, my property's over here. There's 3 properties in between. This is what has, that kind of a thing.
I like that.
Yeah. So I think that, this is an ongoing discussion for this reason, that there are a lot of ideas. We're not implementing them for this season. Unfortunately, we've missed that boat. But for next year, and it would be nice to have these in place when, when the season ends and we can get all of that. But yes, Director Fisher.
I wanted to finish, so we're on number 9, right?
We are still on number
Okay,
9.
I did have a couple of things under number 9 that were not related to the cards. So whenever we're done with that, I was gonna throw it.
You done with the card? I say call it, quick on that. All right.
So Nick and I attended the agricultural dinner in April. The good news is, and it was put on by the Agricultural Commissioner's office over in Placerville. The good news is we're not the only people thinking about how to increase interest in agriculture and therefore agricultural sales. There are a lot of other people in this county The bad news is there's some pretty grim statistics that they cited. 80% of available working ground in this county is fallow. 50% of the grape crop died on the vine last year in El Dorado County. And El Dorado County has the oldest demographic of farmers in the state. I was surprised by not so much by the grapes. I kind of knew that was in a slump, but those statistics are pretty grim. And there are folks, Nick and I are going to get back in contact. There's a couple of young lady doctoral students, I think, who are working on some economic development.
They're a NGO that's doing, yeah, they're not a doctoral. I know her very well. She worked with the state senator Alvarado Gil's office before she started this venture.
So that's exactly what they've gotten some grant money to put together a economic feasibility study of how to attract agriculture back to, of course, all of El Dorado County, but emphasis on the Georgetown Divide specifically. So we'll follow up on that. And some of their ideas that stand out, how do we leverage the tourism capacity we have from Coloma, from the Rubicon Trail, things like that. How do we leverage our strengths, right? There's some legislation that's been passed encouraging ag tourism, where farmers can have, I think, up to 9 campsites where people can come camp on the property and do ag tourism. So there are some ideas. I didn't hear any silver bullets. Hopefully those campsites don't include campfire pits during the summer. But there is, I was glad that we're not alone in wanting to find creative ways to bring agriculture back to the divide. So we'll keep you posted as things fruit bears out of those relationships.
Was the aspect of the NIMBY issue?
Didn't come up in this meeting, but.
Did they have a deadline for their investigating, or what was it you were saying about,
I didn't
how
ask
to
what the deadline was. They're doing work under a grant, so there is a deadline.
But it's ongoing.
Okay.
They're looking for ongoing opportunities to expand agriculture.
I was just hoping that we could plagiarize some of the stuff that they put out, basically, or incorporate.
Yeah, and again, we were at a dinner, so it wasn't they just gave a talk at the dinner. So our agreement was to follow up, and that's still gonna happen. Cool. But yeah.
Director Wright.
Yeah.
Member Wright.
Yeah, member, please, not charge.
Prime Minister, right.
So on another idea about bringing, about ways to sell agricultural water, the Fire Safe Council, back where we're from originally, back in Mendo, they recently gave, as part of their Fire Safe Council, they gave out water tanks to people in their, through whatever grant money they came up with, which we thought was pretty interesting. But that county has always been a very dry county, and particularly the northern part of the county where we live, there's a lot of properties that people have really minimal water. Giant gardens are not the thing. And the only agriculture up there is not something that we want to get involved in here. But one of the things that they have done in the local Laytonville water district is they have sold water. They're actually selling potable water from in town to people who live in outlying areas. And in my knowledge of this area, when we were first here, we used to see water trucks come and park at the corner of Balderston across the street from our house and fill up with water. And at that time, being a concerned citizen, I called GDPUD and said, hey, there's this truck out here and it's got this logo on it and they're pumping water right out of the ditch. And they told me that, oh yeah, that they sell water by the truckload and to certain entities that particular one that we called on, I think, was a horse event at Drew Barner. And, so, what if we actually, my husband and I were just talking the other night about this. It's like what, I don't know, man, I haven't called any of our people back home to find out how this all worked, but maybe we could look into the potential for encouraging people to purchase 500-gallon tank to have on their property for water storage, which could be somewhat helpful. But also, like, there are people out there that have water tanks and just have people come up with water trucks. I don't know the infrastructure in this county. I can't just call up, one of my buddies and go, hey, David, what's the deal that you do where you sell truckloads of water? But is that something that we can explore? Is there a way that we could consider contacting water, I could make some phone calls back home and ask, like, so how did this ever get set up? I was not involved, as I said, we had gravity flow water, so we didn't have a water issue up there. But we know a lot of people that did, and it wasn't involved in the water district. Although I know a number of the people that are on the water district up there on the board, and I could make some phone calls on how they have done that. But is that something that has ever been looked at by this district? Is that something, like I said, we've seen these tanker tips fill up outside our property. Is that something that we could explore as a way to bring in?
So instead of a continual
Yeah,
flow of water to a person, they buy a specific
yeah,
tank
so
amount.
you'd need to have some kind of a water company that was interested in selling water. Is that something that has ever been explored up here?
There are guys that sell water to customers that do, right, potable and non-potable, right? Guy right across the street does, the water truck that he delivers to people.
Yeah,
Where does he
It's-
get it? The water from?
Do we buy it from here?
Yeah, usually they do the hydrant meter and they'll just get it right from
Yeah.
hydrant.
Okay,
so,
is there a
hydrant meter.
cost? Do you know the cost of that? Is
Same
that-
as regular water, they rent the meter from us, and then they pay the same amount as everybody else does for the water, potable water.
yeah, so it's potable water that they're selling up
Yeah.
there? Can we do that with irrigation water?
So there are some raw water hydrants up further north, that one you're talking about at Ballerston, and the one at Volcanoville Road they're
Yeah.
both the black ones, the one that they're painted black, those are raw water.
Or
Those are raw
this is
water.
just trucks sucking water out of the ditch.
Well, I don't think they should be doing that anymore,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would
That's
be
a-
doing that.
Yeah,
that sounds illegal. to me.
Unless there's a fire. then
it did to me
fire.
when I first saw that, like 9 years
If
ago.
you
It's
see, if
like,
you see that again, let me know and I'll come talk to
Yeah.
you, because I don't think they should be doing that.
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
so would
that
that
would be,
be, is that something that we could encourage in?
You have to think that's gonna cost more, that's gonna increase your costs on water, I'm just being devil's advocate here. Cause it's the trucking cost, you have to pay for the fuel and everything else, so is it viable? Yes, is it something that people are gonna want the
Yeah.
same price for? Yes, they're not gonna get it, because you have to pay for the infrastructure to get it to them.
And right now, gas prices are
Yeah, gas-
totally, a total
Yeah.
unknown.
Absolutely.
So I think the idea is great. I'm not sure it's feasible to even look into right now for
And
that.
yeah, I'm
For that
just throwing it out
So
there,
it would be
'cause,
diesel.
yeah,
Right.
where,
it
Like
might be
diesel.
something to appease though, for somebody who walks away pissed off because, oh, I thought I was gonna
Yeah, I
get this, and then you bring the temperature down a little bit by saying,
I
but we
agree.
do have
If we
this.
had the capability. to do it,
Yes.
What he's saying is there's a lot of infrastructure where they have to go into it in order to make that delivery possible.
And I know they've talked about putting a tank filler here at the property, we can reassess that and bring it back to the board and. It was nixed in the past, it was way before my time, so I'm not sure what happened there, but.
I think the details just weren't super ironed out.
What was it?
The truck filler, now you could
No,
fill
I
a truck,
understand, but
Yeah,
the details weren't
But
weren't ironed out.
Yeah,
details were what?
exactly ironed out how to do it, that's what it first.
That where it got hung up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then there wasn't, at the time, there wasn't a lot of interest in it, so we kind of just tabled it at that point.
But let's not drop that.
yeah, that's,
A lot of it stemmed from, more drinking water side for, people with dry wells that wanted to,
Oh,
fill
yeah.
up
Yeah.
a tank or something like that. That's what was the idea of the station.
But you'd have to have different trucks for the treated versus the raw water.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'd have to. have
This
different-
would, this filler would have been potable water.
Yeah. Director Seaman.
And that's something that you guys can direct to the board, because I think it came up earlier this year and it was supposed to have come up to a board meeting, but it's kind of fallen into a hole again.
So does the board want to look into that? Should we make a recommendation? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would say, you know, as on the front end of a drought, it would be good to have something in place sitting somewhere, whether it's at one of the treatment plants or just off one of the treatment plants, so that if we needed to, we as in the public needed to get water, it would be great to have that infrastructure in place. Considering this came up before, and years ago, they were actually allowing people into the back of the yard to hook up, which was kind of hokey. But they were supposed to be looking at something to improve that situation. So if somebody needs to buy water, they can. So I would say that would be something that would be probably good to look at, you know, get it started down the road. So when we have a drought and somebody needs water because their well is dry, the structure is already in place that all they have to do is hook up and go. So that would be something you guys could propose.
Yeah. So you're talking about raw and potable.
Yeah, either way. I mean, reality is, you know, the wells going dry, there are quite a few areas that lose water completely and they're struggling when we have a drought, or by the end of the season and it gets so hot and dry that their wells go dry. So you know,
we have the ability for people to hook up to raw water already. And we have the ability for people to hook up to potable. I think a filler station, if we were going to do something like this, you would not make a filler station that was a raw water filler station. I think you'd make one that's for potable water, or what she's referring to in a drought situation is that water has to be potable water. You cannot
Right.
serve
For a well.
somebody, excuse me.
For a well. Is what you're saying for the wells?
no,
well
but
goes-
it could be potable water for drinking to your house and have it go to a tank. But then also there are people that, you know, have a well that they use for their house also, but they also have X number of animals that they need to keep hydrated. So they're pulling water, whether it's potable or non-potable, they need water to water those animals. Back to the agriculture thing.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that goes on the list for investigation. Okay.
Yeah.
If you would like to call your contacts and see how
Yeah,
it
I'll
works.
make a couple phone calls and find out how they.
Anybody else wants to sort of scratch their heads?
Yeah,
I don't think we're at the point of formally asking them.
yeah, now let's,
I don't think we should
I'll
ask.
go ahead and make some phone calls, talk to some people back home about how the system was even set up and how it was put together. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna turn it over to the district to talk about this magnet.
Are you gonna take any,
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Mr. Wright. May I have comments from the audience, from the public?
Thank you, Chair. At our last board meeting, discussing the sale of transferable water, Director Nicholas quoted the phrase, "Any water that reaches the ocean is wasted." That is commonly believed to have been from Joseph Stalin from the 1930s and 40s and 50s, the 5-year programs. I have here the new 1941 Home and School Atlas. The entire planet is on these 2 pages. This blue dot here is Lake Aral, A-R-A-L, the 4th largest lake on the entire planet.
At that time.
Yes, at that time.
Okay.
That's why I brought 1941 in. It's a desert now. I made a few notes here. Lake Superior is 31,820 square miles. Lake Superior. Aral Lake is 26,525 square miles. By the 1960s, it was recognized that we were losing it. They had drawn off water, transferred it for irrigation to grow cotton in the desert. So there were no soils to retain the water. So much water was drawn off, was transferred. Today, there's no Lake Aral. It's gone. Remediation efforts began in the 1960s have resulted in puddling in part of what was once the lake. The Public Policy Institute of California has done a great job of analyzing this. I'd be happy to provide a link to this information. But the ethical dimension to this equation of water transfer is very welcome. I appreciate Director Seaman's concern about water temperature and the effect on fish and wildlife. Why this is important is the same thing is happening with Colorado River water. The Colorado water no longer
reaches the
Gulf. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Sea of Cortez. It no longer, and it's the same thing happening all over again. This transfer of water that was discussed at the last board meeting is going to cotton farmers. These are not people producing food. They wish to make money. So John F. Kennedy in 1962, in a speech to the America's, this is called the America's Cup speech, made note that the same percentage of salt in the ocean flows in our blood and our sweat and our tears. His words were, when we go to the sea, we are going back from whence we came. So in nature, nothing is wasted. When we transfer water out of the headwaters, Stumpy Meadow, we are impoverishing our area. That money coming from LA cannot balance the value of the water in our watershed. Many of us consider it a crime against nature to take water out of its watershed. Director Fisher noted that there are human needs. And I expect as climate change exacerbates the problems humans have with water, will be called upon to make these assessments of what's important, how we can help others. But this policy of resource extraction, in nature, it's a zero-sum game. If you take something out of our headwaters, it's gone. So thank you for your consideration. I appreciate ethical and ecological considerations. When we give up autonomy for our headwaters, it'll be gone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to respond to that. I have actually studied Lake Arrow. And I would say that is just one more really good reason to reject communist central planning and take up an attitude of stewardship. The Soviet era was absolutely devastating to the environment and should be fully rejected. We thought pretty long and hard about the transfer that our board made last time, and I want to make some distinctions between that and Lake Arrow. One, it was a one-time transfer explicitly. It's not exactly true that any water leaving the watershed is gone forever, because it does replenish every year. We are meeting the needs of all of the people on the divide right now. One of the dilemmas we have is that there's declining need because there's declining demand. So we're balancing. How do we respond to our ratepayers and keep rates as low as they are when we actually have water is leaving the divide? It's going over the dam and it's going down the river, and it is some of it going to the Delta. I kayak on the Delta. I love the Delta. I want to see it healthy. There are formulas at the state level that make sure, there's a lot of fighting over it, but there's a lot of discussion about how much water the Delta needs to stay healthy. The water that we transferred, I asked the representative of Westlands District, what is it being used for? And it is being used for food. There may be cotton in there too, but it's growing tomatoes. It's growing all kinds of food within that Westlands District. It is the breadbasket of our country. It provides a great deal of the, if you leave California on a road trip, you'll notice you get east of California, it's commodities, corn, soy, wheat.
Artichokes.
California grows most of the rest of what you eat: the tomatoes, the cucumbers, the lettuce, the nuts, all of that does come from the Central Valley, and that is what they're growing. And we were explicit in the contract. This is not an ongoing relinquishment of our water rights. It's a one-time sale with an option in the fall, if we're still in good water shape, to release a fraction more. And next year, we get to revisit the same thing. We're never obligated again to release this water. We get to look at it on a year-by-year basis. And that's what we're trying to do, is balance the needs of our users. If we had enough irrigation users on the divide to use that money that's going downstream, I'd be thrilled to death. I would love to see the divide that green. But that's a multi-generational rebuilding project. In the meantime, we're trying to balance our stewardship. And we do have water that goes over that dam every year. It's not becoming Lake Arrow. It fills and spills every year. And what we're talking about is what to do with that amount of water that spills, that goes over. Because that elevation of the spillway, once it reaches that elevation, everything else goes over, and it does go down the river. And some of that becomes excess water through the Delta that's not needed in the Delta. So what's the stewardship of that water? Those are the questions we're grappling with.
And we're also already talking about investigating adding to that storage capability.
Right.
That's beyond just the one lake, right?
Right. And the state, I think, actually has some, when we went to our trade show, a couple weeks ago. You know, the state water plan is now calling for an additional 90 9 million acre feet of storage by 2040. Combination of surface storage, groundwater storage. So the state's looking at that need finally. I think that's good. We're finally looking at, you know, we can't conserve ourselves out of our needs. You know, the numbers just don't work. We do have to look at additional storage and additional water abundance. And I'm pleased to see that the state's looking at that. Not every damn DAM project is a good one, but a lot of them are. And I think the one that we have on the books could really be a good project. And it sounds like the state and the federal government may be in favor of that. So yeah, I appreciate your comments. I'm going to push back on them a little bit, but I really do appreciate them.
Okay, we move on to the magnet.
Printer.
There are just some ideas that I threw together as far as the magnets go, to just give the conversions on how much of mine is inches down.
I like the blue.
I like the blue as well, but there was some push to be a little bit on the fancier side, so.
This is confusing. This is so busy. It's just.
I just wanted to toss together a bunch of options so we could take a look and go from there.
Yeah,
I like the simplicity of the blue.
yeah,
I like the way the numbers are presented here with,
yeah.
you know, this highlighted and on below, so some combination between the two.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little much. It's a lot. Any other comments?
I agree, I go with the blue.
Yeah, the blue.
Maybe just a frame around the edge or something. Yeah, because it's gonna be a magnet, right?
Yeah.
And so it'll have rounded edges.
Not
Potentially.
necessarily.
Not
Okay,
necessarily.
where are the magnets?
It's easier to put
And what size?
a frame on square edges. Definitely.
Haven't decided size. The magnets are part of the packet. They're just the pictures that show, yeah, they're those.
Okay. I didn't know what those were. I didn't know if those were flyers or what.
The most magnets be put out by businesses are business card size.
They'll probably be smaller. They're just to show you how big just to show you.
No, I understand. I'm just asking
They'll
what
probably be like this, about this big.
the bigger than a business card.
I'm
Business cards are
Yeah.
by 3.5. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
maybe
good
about this
because
big.
okay. A little bit bigger.
that's great. I have several on my fridge showing me a teaspoon equals blah, blah, right?
Mhm.
You know, so this fits right into that.
Are there any other ways to increase irrigation water sales that anybody wants to bring up? I see a hand, Cherie.
What's the point of these magnets? I don't understand it.
Advertising.
And
I mean,
you think somebody's going to put this on their refrigerator?
We're just
would.
trying to
I
throw
would.
all the options out there.
Well, I mean, if you're an irrigation customer, yeah, but I don't know.
Are
I
those,
just got a free
are those
magnet.
basically giveaways at like the different functions? Is that what the thought was?
Correct. Yes.
Get people thinking about water.
Yeah.
Refrigerator.
Is there a cost associated, a known cost?
I have not figured that part out yet.
It's probably gonna be about $2,000. You'll probably get about 500 to 600 of them.
Do you bid it out?
You not really. You just look for somebody online who makes them and you just,
Oh, I know.
it's not like that
I know
anymore.
someone.
Oh, well, then you can tell them how much. they're-
Ready, yeah,
Yeah.
I can send you that way. Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think it's a great idea because if you, having been in business, if you have something you can give away, people will pick it up. They'll come, they'll look to your booth or, yeah, if there's something there, if you're like at Founders Day or something and you've got a few flyers, but that's it. People are just gonna walk by. If you got something, you got a pen, you got a bottle opener, you got something, people can take it and yeah, they'll use it to stick their next appointment for their dentist on the refrigerator.
Okay, but you're kind of creating the problem that Nick was saying is a problem with people calling in by just putting the number. What if it had that website on that you're in the process of developing
Oh, yeah.
on there instead, which has all the information?
With the website, yeah.
You gotta hand it.
Mr. Samsung SM 9011.
What's up, Steve?
Go ahead. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
That was the
Still
camera.
muted.
You're still muted. We can't hear you.
Look for the little speaker with the line through it. Wait, I'm not unmuted. I'm not
You
muted.
don't shout.
Oh my gosh.
Tell him to touch the bottom of your screen and it will pop up. It's a menu.
Well, that was one way to get rid of him.
No. Well, now you're muted and we can't see you. Okay.
So
How long
the,
do I need?
so the only other thing I thought was worth doing is I think someone said it's, here we are with that phone number and someone's gonna call the office and will be impacting the staff. Do we want to have the website, first go to the website and see what propaganda you can get off of it and then move on from there if you have more questions.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Hello.
Please
I had to
speak
go over in the beginning there at the beginning of the stuff. Hey, Andy, you were partially right, but mostly right. You were right about the communism. That was bad. It's made to destroy America and the world. But the thing is about the using the water, why we have less water being used is because we raised the rates like 8 years ago. And we're raising them still today. People are using less water. And when you lose less water, you use less water. You think you're making money, but you're actually not. You need to have the people use more water and they'll buy more water and you'll make more money. It doesn't make sense to you? And the same with the irrigation customers. You raise their rates and everybody drops off. Nobody's using the water. And then you're wondering why you're not making, you think you're making the money, but you're actually not. If you lowered the rates, you'd have more people buying water and they'll be using it and everybody be happy. People out here are not using water. I haven't used my water yet, water in anything around here. It's you gotta, because the rate's too high. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking, it's like thinking about not savings, but utilization. I mean, people want to spend money. They want to use their water. That's all I got. All I can say. And this, and when when you raise the rates, people are not spending. They're not using their water, and they're not spending money on it. You want them to spend money on your water. You're in the business to sell water, and you're not selling water because people are using less. Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna call you Sam, short for Samsung. You're exactly right in that sense. It's basic marketing, market demand. When there's more demand, you can raise the prices of your product because that send you into a production frenzy, whatever. When you have less demand, you lower the price of your product or you keep it at a rate that you don't increase it to. And that applies to selling water too. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, are we off the subject of irrigation water sales? Okay, I'm gonna move to the irrigation committee comments and reports, and I wanna go first, if I may. To Taylor and the staff, I would like a link to the agenda posted on the calendar. Just the little blurb that you have on the calendar, if you could make that a link to the agenda for the next meeting. It'd be really helpful for us to find that information rather than poking through the website. Are you following? You have the calendar, which you showed me where it was last time, which I didn't know where it was. And you have the meetings all on there. And I would hope that you can make that blurb, that, the words there be a link to the meeting's agenda.
I have to contact Streamline because that's something they do on their back end and
Okay.
see if they're able to.
Okay. It
Um,
would really be simplified for other users.
Oh, you don't write code for this at all then? You're using the translator?
we use a system, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I would also like to remind all of the members of the committee that we have that ethics class that has to be completed by the end of May. So make sure that's on your calendars.
Question, is that the one with the password GDPUD 1 2 3 4 exclamation mark?
Probably don't wanna put that out on the recording.
Yeah,
Oh, is that the
So if you
one,
have questions, just can you
Okay.
ask offline, please?
yeah, that didn't work.
but that wasn't with, yeah, 'cause that's dead in the water,
It's dead.
yeah,
Contact Taylor for the information. for
okay.
that.
So the ethics one that I signed up for in June, is that not what we're talking about?
There are two different classes.
That's not ethics, that's.
That's finance.
That's what
That's
it,
the finance, yeah.
So there's
okay.
finance and there's ethics.
okay, and the ethics
Yes.
one is,
Talk to Taylor directly, please. after the
Okay. okay.
You guys don't have to do sexual harassment? Wow, you're missing out.
Oh.
Every 2 years.
For you too.
It should be, we're gonna make you guys do them. No, good, is that what Frank said?
Frank said they didn't have to
Oh.
because they don't actually interact with the staff like the
Oh,
board
then, yeah,
does.
never mind.
Aren't we interacting?
It's.
Stop.
Do you wanna do it?
No.
Cause we'll get it if you want.
Listen to your chair.
Sorry,
Not walking those waters.
it's my HR coming through, I'm sorry.
I don't.
I thought he said it.
I'll
I
send
would
you the
like,
cliff notes if you're really interested.
we have a lot of standing agenda items, and I personally think it's great because if we don't need to discuss something, we just don't discuss it, we move on. I don't think it's a time waster to do that. That being said, I would like to add an agenda item for customer issues. Because we've been seeing a lot of customers coming in with problems or comments or kudos, whatever it is. I would like to see a standing agenda item for customer issues where they are not limited to the public comments at the beginning where we're actually not supposed to discuss things, where things can actually be discussed as appropriate. Okay. What else did I have?
Can I add to that, or I have a question
Okay.
about that, customer issues, because of everything that was aired today, I was wondering, has there ever been any kind of watchdog, ombudsman, set up here for that type of situation where they felt heard, there's action being taken, we're watching the deadlines for them, seeing what's implemented,
You have 5 of them,
5,
ombudsman.
you do, well, I mean,
But that's the general manager, the operations.
Yeah.
You have 5 of them, they're called the board members. That's what their job is. Their job is to make sure that things are, if you have deadlines or you think things are not happening, then you reach out to them. You're their constituent. They work for you. They're,
But you don't have a customer service rep on staff to handle those things.
yeah.
I don't understand, the board members.
So what you're saying is that people, if they have a problem with their water delivery or customer account or what,
Go to the board
they're
member.
supposed to call the board member.
Absolutely.
To
You call me,
Well,
if
you're
you,
not
if
being
you call me and
satisfied.
she's saying if somebody's dissatisfied with what's happening with our deadlines and things that I'm doing, then you talk to the board
Well,
members.
okay, perhaps deadlines wasn't the.
Is that not the way, it's not, am I interpreting that correctly?
I'm thinking of something healing here because there's a lot of anger that I'm feeling, I'm hearing from people, distrust, disappointment, all of that. So if there was some person or some way that these grievances can be listed and prioritized and just, with, was it Ron?
Ron.
Yeah, Ron, that kind of situation where he didn't feel like he had to come here and let everybody know.
Well, let
I-
me explain how this game plays out. Is when someone reaches out to me with a problem, I'm not part of the fix, but I'm at the part that's going to get it fixed to the end. So in his case, we had a venue that was open that was dealing with an irrigation problem, and that's why I directed it to go to him or to go here. If there's something where somebody's not getting a response from, say, the phone tree, that's when I pushed it back over to the GM. Now, if the GM fails to do his job, that's when it comes to the board, and then he is our employee and we deal with that. So the staff, the district is supposed to be doing their job. And so we are only the overseers and the ultimate last stop, So that's why, in a way, I think it's a good thing that if someone has an irrigation problem that is not being addressed, shoot it to the board, to you guys. But, if we can satisfy that problem there, great. If not, then a board member needs to be approached and we need to put it towards the full board and get it fixed.
And who's telling them to go to the board? And I was thinking more of like LAFCO, that kind of situation also.
That's irrelevant of what you're talking about. These are two different things. Coming in from as a customer and that LAFCO thing, that's two different items.
Those are customers that aren't getting the movement that they need.
Are you
Right.
talking about your customer that's sitting there in the room with you? Because that's the only one I know that has a LAFCO issue right now. And so if that's the case,
no, not necessarily. I'm just
well,
talking in
then
general.
LAFCO is not part of our problem. We don't have
No,
LAFCO
I'm not talking
issues.
about LAFCO. I've just used that as an example of one of the problems that was brought forth with a year-long problem of things not getting listened to or not applications not getting filed properly, all of that also can fall under the guise of whatever,
Okay, we're getting a little bit beyond what my intention was.
Yeah.
Just an agenda item where people could bring issues to the attention. I don't know, what I gathered from what Ron said was there are other issues that are happening that we don't know about, and we are the irrigation committee. I think it would be nice to have a place where those customers could come, bring it to our attention.
Exactly.
We digest it and move it to the appropriate place.
Yeah.
That was my intention.
Oh, I just got confirmation that LAFCO has the maps and they're reviewing them.
Ah,
There you go, real-time updates.
hey.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, you can always reach out to any board member, and we should not be doing staff's job. We direct it to a staff that will take care of the problem. Now, then will one of the board members follow up? They should, to make sure it gets completed.
Well, not everybody's you. So you can't go anywhere.
That's why I get phone calls on my vacation.
Okay, that was my member comment and report. Anybody else have things that has not already been discussed?
Just one thing, there was a ditch issue on Sunday night, and, I don't think anybody knows who to call or how to get a hold of someone to get out there.
Oh, we just call the main number. If you dial number one, when you call in, it says number one, and then we have somebody come out. We have somebody on call all the time for
Is
irrigation.
it 24 hours?
Yep.
Okay, so, I mean, the call we got, it went to 911, and they called the fire department,
Oh, okay.
and
If you all just, if you, oh,
I was.
Bad up here.
I wasn't calling him, but I was at his dad's house at the time. But the.
so you just use that they're in the right channel. You got fast response.
But anyways, what I noticed was that on the 911 call, it said that they called EID.
Not everybody knows that we exist up here.
Yeah, so I think that was part of the problem.
Yeah.
It was probably Camino called EID, but anyways, but it was resolved. The fire department took care of it, so you guys didn't have to.
Yeah, I got a call from,
Can we do more of
I
that?
got a call from fire department. So
I like this.
the customer did call. We saw that he called, but it didn't go through at that time, and I think sometimes we have, like the cell phone service up for sometimes, and I think sometimes they don't come through, and sometimes they do. So we tested all the phones before irrigation started to make sure they're all working. With our on-call system, we test distribution all the time, that they're on all year round, but irrigation we did test went through, and that one didn't go through, whatever it is, unfortunate, but we did get a call from the fire department, we are on our way out there, but they had it cleared by the time we were able to get there.
Phyllis.
I got a personal call, you know, like I know we all small community.
I will assure you that I get calls from customers all the time. I take calls in the middle of the night for people having customer issues, and I deal with them in real time.
Well, you
And
gave out your number and said to do that.
anytime, 530-957-4413. If you ever have an issue, if you feel like I'm not doing my job, or you feel like I've missed something, call me. I will be happy to answer the phone. I am happy to work for this community. I love this community, and I want to see this community strive and thrive. Okay, so by all means, that's this phone right here. It will call me. You can call me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I will answer. Test me.
Hey. All right, anybody else have anything they want to?
Yeah.
Then we're gonna move to item number 11, which is agenda items for the next irrigation meeting. I think we should retain the water resource update. It's not gonna affect the water season, but it's always nice to know where our levels stand at any given time. I'm sure there will be probably a fire mapping system update.
I will not be here. I'll be out of town, but I will provide number of customers that we contacted.
Okay.
If Richard ever wants to come in and just talk about it, he's welcome to come in. I know it's maybe out of his time or whatever he wants to do. It's up to him though.
Could we invite him? Would he, when he has something definitive, could we invite him to attend one of our meetings?
Yeah, I'm sure if he's available.
Yeah. Okay. Cherry Acres, from what I hear, there's really nothing to come back with until July or August.
We'll try to have something for you by
July.
the July irrigation meeting.
Okay, so nothing on that for June. LATCO, same thing.
You should have an answer by July. Like I said, they've got the maps. We should have a full answer for you by June, whether or not they've been accepted or not. Cause I think the deadline was June. You remember the June?
June
deadline?
24th.
Yeah, so we'll give you the update right before they go in then.
Okay, so our June meeting.
If we're having a June meeting, then yes.
Well, that would be another, let's,
Yeah, I don't.
We should have LAFCO on there.
no, I'm wondering, sometimes we don't meet in one of the months in the summer.
Yeah,
Does everybody want to meet on June, July, and August? Or does anybody want to take a break? It seems like August is going to be a good informational thing, but that's perhaps a board meeting, not an irrigation committee meeting.
August, if you wanna have the July meeting, we'll try to get an update for Cherry Acres by then. It's still gonna be pushing it, but we'll do the best we can.
For a July meeting.
The 16th is the irrigation meeting for June. So if you wanna have one, that will be before the 24th deadline for LAFCO.
June 24th is the deadline.
I believe so. Is that right?
Okay, do we want to skip a June meeting and come back in July? We'll have more information. And you said you can't come in June.
I'm out of town, yeah.
You're out of town for July also?
No, June.
For June.
I'm fine with not being here in June or being here, either way, whatever's needed.
There's really not a lot left except for updating, so.
Yeah.
So, okay. Shall we make our next meeting the July meeting?
Sounds
It'll be
good.
July 21st.
Oh, okay. Sister's big birthday.
Any of the items that are standing items, if we receive updates, I can email the committee as a BCC, so you guys can at least get updates.
And I will be in touch with you about setting up the agenda, finalizing it before that July meeting.
Yeah, Taylor will reach out to you, yeah. And then I'll just let everybody know that I did reach out to both Christie and regarding the LAFCO item and the board members to make sure that they all realize that this wasn't gonna be going through. Maybe I didn't realize. I reached out to you and the board members, I reached out to the board members to just let everybody know that the LAFCO process had kind of fumbled where it was, so that everybody knew, and I wanted to make sure that they were on top of it.
Okay, so we're gonna meet in July and we will meet again in August, and then we'll resume in September for the fall.
I would think we need to meet in August because there's an issue about whether or not they're gonna sell more water irrigation out of. That,
But our meeting's after the board meeting,
yeah,
and so we should cover that. in
So
July.
the meeting is not till September that we're gonna discuss that, so the August meeting would be the one that you would talk about it.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. We needed to have an update at least about what.
No, I think,
Yeah,
didn't I say we would have a July and August meeting? We're skipping June.
yeah, we're.
No June.
No June, yeah,
July
July
and
and
August.
August.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything else that we need to cover?
I have one more thing for the good of the order,
For the what?
for the good of the order.
Okay, I've heard that expression before. Go ahead.
July 24th, we'll be having groundbreaking at the Sweetwater Treatment Plant for our new solar facility. And that will be at 4:30. At 5 o'clock, we'll be rotating. Tentatively, I'm hoping, I'm still waiting to hear back from the rec district. We'll be rotating over to the Garden Valley Park for a 80th anniversary celebration of the district. District will be providing food and fun and games, and there'll be the splash pad there. So we're gonna invite everybody out. I've already received about $2,500 so far in sponsorships for the event from outside agencies. We're gonna invite Fire Safe Council, the fire departments, sheriffs. Some of our, some of the people that we work with are gonna come in and kind of talk about the projects that we've done. There might be a band. We're working on having a live music band there. So it's gonna be kind of fun in the sun and hopefully good evening, Friday evening. So
Okay, that's really.
if you want to come out and get a burger or whatever we decide for food, then come on out.
I've noticed on the calendar, it's just meetings. I would like to see these kinds of events put on that calendar as well.
Yeah, but this is the first one we've done, so we don't do a whole lot of events like this, so.
No, but it's a community event that you're gonna be a part of. I think it should be
Sure.
on the calendar.
No, I'm just saying we don't do a lot of them. That's why I don't have more than just meetings on there.
Okay.
Will you have the magnets ready?
Cool.
Maybe, I don't see why I couldn't.
Yeah,
I have
too.
my hand up, hello.
Yes, I was just going to say Taylor had her hand up and you guys, and I noticed yours were up. Let's go with you, Director Seaman.
So I would like to know how we can fix the problem of not getting notification of a quorum until the day of the meeting. For my
Uh-oh.
personal issues,
He
that's,
just froze.
that's
but we heard what he
unacceptable.
said.
So we need to be notified. Like if the agenda is coming out on Friday and we have a quorum, I need to know ahead of time so I can make the meeting. I mean, luckily I can zoom in, but this is kind of crap that this continues to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I understand. And, We apologize that we didn't make phone calls on Friday. We were working on the minutes and the agenda, and fortunately, the new minutes you guys are requiring or requesting are very, very, very time consuming, and we missed the phone calls on Friday, so.
No, I got called on, I got it today at 12 something.
I'm apologizing for that, and that's what I'm
Last
saying.
month was the same deal, so this isn't hasn't been a fix.
So,
It's just a comment. I don't think we need to address anything more, right?
Donna, you're breaking up a lot, so we're only getting bits and pieces of what you're saying.
Do you really want to hear me in full swing?
No.
Last month I didn't get notified either. So this is not something new. It is just continuing to happen.
Okay, we will make efforts. We should make sure that doesn't happen again. All right. Taylor, you said something?
The calendar, as far as events go,
Mhm.
it only adds meetings that we have. So I have to talk to Streamline and see if there's a way to also incorporate having on their events we attend.
Or a sponsor or, yeah.
Yeah, so I have to talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't want to guarantee that it'll go on there because I don't know if that's something
No,
that
I
I can
know.
do, but I will try.
Into it, along with the link.
Good, that's two things, yeah.
Yeah, so you have good reason. Okay, next meeting, July 21st. And with that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting.